From Studio 4, Spacedog Radio, this is a Spacedog Radio show. I'm Spacedog along with the crew, Randall Handle.
What's up, Earth? How you doing?
Mean Queen.
Hi.
She's thoughtful. Sizzle is on the flight deck.
Oh, yes, I am.
And on the phone with us right now is the awesome journalist, Mark Taylor-Canfield. He's an independent journalist, activist, and is talking about the Occupy movement and a really important breaking story. Mark, go ahead. Tell us about this breaking story you mentioned earlier.
Well, back in July, the FBI and the Seattle Police Department conducted raids on two separate residences, a home in Portland and a home in Seattle. And those raids apparently were connected to a secret federal grand jury that's now convening in Seattle. The FBI actually in Portland used flash grenades during the raid, and the residents of the home were held in the backyard and cuffed while their place was searched. A laptop was confiscated, cell phones, political material, including anarchist material, and some black clothing.
Ooh, black clothing. We can't have that. Ooh, send in the drones right away.
Half this room is guilty.
We've broken that rule. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I mean, it is a serious story, but I appreciate the fact that you're pointing out the irony that actually there were no, apparently nothing was found at these two homes that could convict anyone of a crime because no one has been charged with a crime. But subsequently, the residents were subpoenaed by a federal grand jury and ordered to appear before the grand jury in Seattle.
So is this whole fear of? Hey, Mark. Is this whole fear of anarchy and how the Occupy movement is so awe-inspiring? Or what's this all about? I mean, we've got people having their homes raided because they're wearing black clothes and they may have said something on the internet. What is this all about?
Well, that's a good question. It's a very difficult story to analyze and report on because it is a secret federal grand jury. So no one from the public, no journalist is allowed to sit in on the proceedings.
And how can that be if this is America, where you're supposed to be able to have a jury of your own peers and have open information about everything? I mean, why don't they just send them to Guantanamo Bay? I mean, why hold them in Seattle? I mean, Guantanamo, you can send them there for 10 years and not have to worry about them, right?
Well, that's a question that is...
I'm just saying.
And unfortunately, even when I... spoke to representatives from the ACLU, they weren't really willing to take it on, although the National Lawyers Guild has, including Neil Fox, who is the director for the chapter here in Seattle. And the National Lawyers Guild is just basically saying this is a political witch hunt, and that's what the grand jury sisters are saying as well. I would say that any reporting about what this investigation is actually specifically about is pure speculation, and that's the problem. Because it's been connected, one, to the Occupy movement because at least one of the people who were subpoenaed had participated in Occupy Seattle events, although they were not like a major organizer. And then it's also been connected to the anarchist movement in the Northwest because of the fact, and these are really sketchy details, but I'll give you what I know, is according to, I believe it was the Oregonian, there was a warrant that was left behind during the raid in Portland, which evidently they weren't supposed to leave behind because these are secret warrants, because all the documents are sealed. All warrants and documents pertaining to the subpoenas are sealed by the...
Well, not only is it a legal document, but it also contains very personal information, right? So, I mean, yeah, so clearly we're dealing with professionals here. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Well, Jenny Durkin is the U.S. attorney here in Seattle who's in charge of the case, and her office has sealed all the files. But according to the report in the newspaper, a warrant was left behind in Portland which mentioned anarchist material. So then people started saying, oh, this is about suppression of the anarchist movement. And I think you'll find that the support website is definitely taking it from that point of view. can't say for sure that that is true. That's just what's being speculated about. Now, I invite everyone to go to the support website and decide for yourself, because there are plenty of public statements there by the folks who were subpoenaed. But bottom line, the people who, and by the way, Al Jazeera actually covered this story in an op-ed and called it America's Pussy Riot. So even though the United States media isn't really covering it, at least one news agency decided that it was an important story.
Yeah, and the new news agency is out of Dubai. That's ironic. Randall Handel, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, just when we're talking about this, you mentioned that there's somebody had left behind some significant documents in Oregon. I tend to see this as, we've got people on both sides realizing how dangerous this situation is, and I like to hope that whoever left that behind might have accidentally did it on purpose, just so we might all have this information. But I see this as just one more step towards being able to say to people how dangerous we can claim any of you are, and then do what we need to do. This is testing the waters, just putting your toe in, as far as I'm concerned, with what the government's trying to do as far as labeling them as anarchists. It's like the Occupy movement, when they put them in the same group as Aryan Nation and anarchists, they were trying to label the Occupy movement as something dangerous. And once they were able to do that, put them in that certain column, they were able to now enact certain, not laws, but tools that they had to their disposal that they couldn't do until they had said, "Oh, but they're in this group."
Yeah,
and it sounds like they've done the same thing.
And the media eats it up.
Oh yeah, they just hear
anarchists.
those talking points come off the fax machine, and the mainstream media just goes, "Okay,
throw it on the desk."
Terrorist, Aryan Nation,
CNN.com. There it is.
and Occupy movement. I'm just
ridiculous.
All I have to say is this hole is huge, like you talked about, this information hole, and no one wants to look into it. Thank you for looking into it personally yourself.